You are now listening to the Meat Pies podcast, your podcast for most things footy and few things pie. This is Gabe. Got the whole gang on yet again. It's Nico, it's Loic, it's Paul, it's Forrest, but we've all gone our separate ways, potting from up and down the West Coast. How does it feel to be back, y'all? Everyone recovered?
You recovered great. I wouldn't recover from a devastating loss to Forest and Dominoes, though. I thought I got to avoid that.
It was domination.
All right. You know what? I didn't run into any of that beginner's luck. Forrest and his mother and his stepfather all beat the living snot out of me in a rousing game of dominoes last night, is what Paul is referring to. But you know what? I'm gonna come back stronger. I'm gonna be better.
We're gonna learn from this.
Like my counting skills getting better by the minute. So
I
there's
honestly
time.
don't even know what the rules to dominoes really are. Like,
Only pirates do, Louis. Nobody plays dominoes. Okay.
Pirates and like 1,000-year-olds, aka Forest. Honestly, Forest kind of is like a mashup between a pirate and like senior citizen.
I know. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we are posting these videos on YouTube now, so that people can understand the old man references.
Yeah. Not with the beard anymore. Without the beard anymore, though. I just shaved today. I feel like a baby.
Then the pirate references.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Well, we had a good mix of young and old too in the Olympics this past week. Yeah. Had some U23, U24 star players along with Dani Alves, lining up next to him, lacing him up just like old times, like he's been doing for the past 7 decades. Two big gold medal matches in Tokyo. The first, an exhausting match of wills between women's soccer powerhouses, Canada and Sweden. Stina Blackstenius opened the scoring for Sweden, scoring in her second straight World Cup gold medal match. Also taking claim to one of the best names in the world of footy. Canada then threatened and earned another timely penalty in the second half, which penalty kicking sniper Jesse Fleming cashed home yet again to bring the game level. Despite both teams creating chances in the remaining half an hour and subsequent extra time, the ball just could not find the back of the net. And yet another important international fixture was going to be decided by penalties this summer. The shootout had everything: makes, lots of saves, some misses, big momentum swings, and ultimately a goalkeeping hero in Stephanie Leb. And Julia Grosso scored the gold-winning penalty for Canada, and North America yet again showed its women's footballing prowess. Only this time, it wasn't the Stars and Stripes lifting a trophy, but Le Lady Rouge. Louis, how's my French?
Mm-hmm.
Questionable at best.
All right.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
We move.
We'll let Fabrice decide. All right.
We move. Shout out to Fabrice. What's going on? Only a few days later, Brazil looked to defend their 2016 gold medal campaign against a Spain squad stacked with U23 talent. The scoring could have been opened by Richarlison, the tournament leading scorer, from the spot after VAR determined that Unai Simon had committed a foul in his box, but Richarlison blasted his penalty opportunity well over the bar in true midseason Everton form, clearly not having taken any notes from a one Jesse Fleming. However, Richarlison was a part of a move for the Brazilians that opened the scoring just before halftime, as a 100-year-old Dani Alves kept a ball alive at the far post for Matheus Cunha to take down near the top of the box and slot home. In the second half, Richarlison wasted yet another golden opportunity, and the Spaniards made Brazil pay in the 61st with a smashing volley from Real Sociedad talisman Mikel Orizabal. I even wrote the TH
Oh,
instead of how his name
Oyarzabal.
is actually spelled, and I still knew I was gonna butcher it. Also a great funny name though. Smashed home volley at the far post. Beatle cover band member and new Hotspur Brian Hill hit the crossbar later in the half, but the winning goal did not come until the 108th minute in extra time when Malcolm slipped by Pau Torres and fired Brazil into Olympic history. I know a lot's happened in the world of footy this week, and we're on the cusp of another smashing Premier League season, but uh, what are y'all feeling about these two matches, these two wins, and the significance for these two countries in what was a pretty strange Olympic year?
Didn't Brazil win it last time too?
Yep, they're repeat gold medal champions. I mean, I know something for me that I've been sort of thinking about with Brazil is they have sort of fallen short on the senior side of things in the men's game for the past, maybe even couple decades now. But clearly their youth program is having a lot of success in tournaments. So maybe there's a bit of a disconnect there, or I wonder if that's something that they can finally translate into some senior success. But hopefully they don't waste Neymar's prime.
Definitely seemed like the gold meant more to the Canadian women than to the Brazilian men. But
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like Brazil is just a very deep country in terms of talent, and whether they win the Copa America every time they play, was it every 4 years, every 2 years? They're at least like in the final, and so I honestly think, and with like the weird selection of countries in this tournament not playing their best players, I think most people expected them to at least be in the finals. So, I mean, I didn't really pick off, or I didn't really get the vibe that it meant so much to the country and to the players, but it was definitely just a great experience for all of them, and I'm sure they appreciated it.
I mean they seemed pretty. I don't know. The celebrations were pretty excited at the final whistle, I will say. And Spain also looked pretty defeated at the final whistle as well. That match definitely seemed like it mattered. I mean, Richarlison, played in both the Copa and Olympics this summer, had to beg Everton to let him play in the Olympics, and it clearly meant a ton to him. Was talking huge smack on Twitter after the match. So I think it definitely meant something to them, but I think it is a fair point that I mean Canada hadn't even beat the U.S. in 20 years, let alone won a major international women's tournament. So definitely shout out to them, and hopefully this propels them into becoming a perennial powerhouse in women's football. They're such a young team as well. Yeah, Louis.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, a little bit of the agony that I saw in Spain and joy that I saw in Brazil in winning this tournament, which differs from the Canadian women winning this tournament, right? Because we've obviously seen that the Olympics is kind of a different tournament for women compared to the men's teams. But I think a lot of the emotion kind of was driven by just the amount of work put in. And I don't mean that in like, oh, work put in for something so amazing like gold medal, but more like someone like Pedri, who has played a ridiculous amount of soccer this last year, is probably just like, wow, I ran my ass off for so long and has nothing to show for it. Right. So I don't know. I wonder how much that's contributing to it, especially after, we've talked about this a lot, the very exhausting injury ridden season. Probably for some of these players who played a lot this last season and played a lot this summer, both in Copa and in the Euros, it had to be pretty disappointing to just feel all the energy kind of wind down to nothing. Or in the case of someone like Richarlison, the energy really build up into something beautiful.
I mean, for Richarlison to get his hands on a trophy, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
True.
You know, he
Very
can't pass
true.
that up.
I don't know. I just want to say Real Madrid's gonna be pretty good in a couple of years.
I also think it was nice to see Pedri finally fall into his shallow grave after the year he's had. Oh my God. That dude is probably just like in an iron lung right now, like getting his heart pumped, like as unreal. I saw a crazy stat that he's played more games this season for Barca than Neymar has at PSG since he arrived, which is like he played 72 games this year. Neymar's only played 70 for PSG, like total.
What?
Which is an absolutely bonkers statistic.
What?
You could see it in his eyes too.
No way that's a real stat.
I saw that too. I saw
Straight
that.
up.
It wasn't
is that?
It was League One games. It wasn't just like, it wasn't total games.
Okay,
but
fair.
that's still a lot considering Neymar's been at PSG for so long and
3
Pedri's
years,
18.
right?
Yeah.
So can't compare because Neymar has had an infinite amount more stepovers than Pedri has had this year. So
Yeah, exactly.
Stepovers per minute way more important than minutes
So much higher
per
Dougie
season.
per minute, like John Wall.
Yeah, I mean Pedri, the man has played a lot of footy this summer and this year. Really quickly too, I just wanted to touch on the Canadian team for a second again, that women's team, just because so much has been made of the U.S. women's national team. We talked a little bit about them last week. I don't want to harp on it too much, but I think something that in international tournaments is really important that has been talked about is the combination of youth and like experience. And I think Canada hit that sweet spot with this team really, really well. A lot of young players that are still playing college soccer are still playing for this Canadian national team, but then you still have the likes of Christine Sinclair leading the line and Leb and goal, who clearly had the experience to bring it home. Also really want to say I feel for Sweden because Stina Blackstenius is scoring in back-to-back gold medal matches and losing both is brutal. Kind of ridiculous. And Caroline Seger, like 36-year-old captain, I think this is their best opportunity to win a major tournament, and she had a penalty kick to seal it and blasted it over the bar. So definitely feel for them. Back-to-back silver performances in the Olympics, and that's just a tough way to go out. And again, there's always crazy exuberant joy at the end of penalties, but there's also, as we saw in the Euros, like such brutal disappointment. And so just Godspeed to them. They play some really awesome footy in their, they play some really attractive footy, but also a really intense, like high working side. So yeah, definitely feel for them. But all in all, awesome tournament. Hopefully next Olympics the fans can be out and rowdy.
Totally. I think an interesting difference, now that you bring it up, between the Olympics and other international tournaments, and this even goes for club cups, leagues, whatever. In the Olympics, second place actually is like something to be proud of.
For sure.
Whereas I think in a lot of other tournaments, like the runner-up third place kind of doesn't get any credit and isn't remembered as much. So while it is still really heartbreaking to lose, especially in that fashion like they did, I can't even imagine what they're going through after experiencing that. I think like second, third place teams are actually remembered pretty well from the Olympics, given like the podium system that they give, I guess. So I mean, that may be a sliver of like, this isn't the worst thing that ever happened, but still would be a really hard loss to take for sure.
Totally. No, and I mean, like, I think there's always sort of jokes made every World Cup about the third place match that gets played. And it's not taken, quite as seriously. Guys are pretty burnt out. But those bronze medal matches definitely have a bit of a different fire. There's still a lot to play for, and especially that women's match between the U.S. and Australia, I think definitely showed that as well. Yeah, that's anyone else got anything they want to add about the Olympics before we sort of jump into some of the big transfer news?
Hey, you guys laugh about Spurs trophy cabinet. How about our silver medal cabinet, huh?
Eh.
So transfers.
Bye bye, Nico.
Well, this first fellow we're going to talk about here is now in a color that Nico's best player might be in quite soon, and this is Jack Grealish. Finally completed his move to City. Been sort of coming for a while. Finally got his first playing time with City too this week. In a loss in the Community Shield to Leicester.
Shield, yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to say, Grealish looks quite striking in that new City kit.
Dude, I was gonna say he looked weird. I think it looked so weird.
Like,
Really?
he looks he looks really good.
I think it looks really good.
How could you say Jack
God.
Grealish looks bad in anything?
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at him from like the knees down, he looks amazing.
Oh, come on.
Paul,
You don't
hey,
think
let's
he's
keep it
facey, Paul?
PG, okay?
No, he's obviously facey, but it's so weird seeing him in a non like claret kit, like a non Aston Villa kit, is really, really strange for me. I also think that the number design on the back of those City kits is so bad. It looks like a
Yeah, I agree.
Casio
If we're
alarm
talking-
clock.
The numbers are bad, but
If-
I think the kits themselves are pretty fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine.
Just look at it from the front.
I just want to say, and I know, I mean, I'm sorry, Loic, this is like a stray bullet, but I think you're in agreement. If we're talking like number design and especially name design on the back of kits, Arsenal easily has the worst this season.
Pretty
I need to
bad.
find this.
So brutal.
The home kit is pretty bad. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
It's like they're attempting to be like this medieval Ajax with like blue tint.
Dude,
Like,
I think that's so much cooler. I don't know.
No,
I think that's
the
much cooler.
That's like see,
no.
speaking of pirates, that's like pirate lettering on the back of like the Arsenal kit.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I still like the away kit. I'm still a fan. I gotta say, with regards to Jackie Boy, you know, he deserves to be on a championship side, but it is kind of sad to see him leave. I mean, I definitely got some chills at that video that I think Villa released on Twitter, 4 minutes of like a thank you, Jack. And I gotta say, it is cool in this very hectic, very contentious, competitive transfer market to see the way Aston Villa did business and to kind of see the way they're like treating him as like a soldier that needs to move on a little bit. It's I don't know, it's just cool. It's like this weird level of respect where Villa's like, look, we know you are on to greater things. If this is what you feel like is right for you, awesome, because like we're making over 100 million euros on this and we're gonna just buy tons of players. And yeah, also that PSA that their president put out, kind of explaining the decision. I'm sure Nico will want to talk about it, but for me, what struck me was most of these owners from the big six sides would never do something like that, would never explain a decision to their fan base, and have that much transparency, and that much access to their fan base. So mad props to that owner.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that video and statement that they released is absolute class and is the ultimate example for how a club should be run. Daniel Levy, take note. But
Please.
yeah, I think just the stark difference in the way that the Grealish transfer and the potential Kane transfer has been handled really shows the differences in like how the two clubs are run. But yeah, I think too with Villa, it's a little bit easier because with the other top six, they kind of have they will never want to admit that they're smaller of a club than anybody else, especially to another one of the other top 6 clubs. But with Villa, who haven't necessarily been in the Champions League for a little while, I think it was easier to justify it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that being said, just the way they really laid it out, showing how they offered Grealish a new contract last summer with the agreement that if a Champions League club came in, that, they would agree to sell him for £100 million. And if anything less than that came in, then he wouldn't go. But of course, City shelled out the money. So fair play. And just wanted to say it was kind of hit me in the heart a little bit when I saw that video. I was quite jealous.
I do think it is interesting, though. Like, it's sort of flip flopped with Spurs and Villa, and the treatment of their stars. Like, I think Jack has been treated really well by the club and respectfully, but by the fans, he is. I mean, he's pretty hated now, I think, at Villa.
Yeah.
At least on social media, it seems that way. Obviously, I'm not there, but I'm quite curious what the reception is going to be when he comes back to Villa Park this season, and hopefully he plays in that match. I'm definitely curious. But with Kane, it seems like the flip, where he's not quite getting the respect from the club, even though he certainly deserves that. But the fans, I think, are all kind of accepting of the fact that it's time for him to move on, and respectful of that fact. But I mean, I've found it. I sort of understand it in a way, but I still found it a bit strange. Like, Evertonians and Leicester fans and Wolverhampton fans. I mean, smaller club fans. Smaller club fans. You know what I mean. We're if a offer from one of our players comes along from United City, whatever, we're selling. But these fans sort of coming together and saying, Grealish should have stayed. This was wrong. He should have stayed at Boyhood Club. Like, what does it even mean anymore to be part of a Boyhood Club, or grow up in an academy, whatever. So I found it interesting that all these fan bases are sort of uniting on this topic, and Grealish is not maybe the most well liked character in England right now, which is interesting.
I think it's kind of selfish as a fan to like expect someone like that to stay their entire career, especially somewhere that they're not like necessarily fulfilling their full potential, and they're not playing Champions League football, and they want to. And I think in situations like this in the past, Grealish is one of the players that actually has experienced stuff like this in the past with his history playing for Ireland and then switching to England. And he was super respectful of, like, I loved my time with Ireland. Everyone was so nice. They gave me an opportunity when nobody else would. But like, at the end of the day, I'm English, and English football is going to take me to where I want to go. And I feel like when given the opportunity, he'll probably speak something like that. I mean, you can tell that Villa is very fond in his heart. I'm just really looking forward to those games this season. That is going to be electric.
Yes, especially
it's
at
going to
Villa
be
Park.
it's going to be so mad. I'm hyped. That's good. That's like, I always love these transfers because you get like some crazy fixtures on the schedule.
Like, also though, if you're a Prem fan, like, you can't expect your best player to stay their entire career. Like, the one club players are kind of like, that's not really a thing anymore. Who's been, like, especially now that Messi's leaving, like, who besides, I can't even think, like Puyol, Maldini,
The Roma guy, what's his name?
who else?
Totti.
Totti. Like, there's
What's his
like
name?
5 maybe that have stayed at their club
Blanking on it.
for their entire career in the last 40 years or so. So, like, I just don't think it's even fair for fans of any club to expect their best players to stay.
Power Dragon.
Okay. Not necessary.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Villa fans will move on. I think the way that the club has gone about the sale too has not only been quite respectful, but they've obviously planned really well for this. And they're bringing in, the way that he explained, we can't replace Jack with one guy, but we can bring in Buendia for the creativity, Ings for the goals, and Bailey for, that wing dominance. So it was, I think they've absolutely got the plot.
Yeah. I think last thought on this topic, but one thing that's kind of going through my mind with this transfer, and this kind of goes in my mind through any like huge transfer to a huge team, and will go through my mind with this next topic, but like, what does this mean for literally all of City's attacking options, right? Like I don't know, personally, I haven't seen much about transferring out many other players. I mean, talk of Bernardo Silva leaving, which he probably should, or like what about Riyadh and Raheem, right? Like they have major wing depth already. Add on top of that Jack Grealish, add on top of that maybe a Harry Kane. Like it feels like such a waste of talent to have so many players be that deep in your squad. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of playing time Jack gets compared to other players who he's kind of move off, because it'd be kind of weird for Pep to just replace Raheem with Jack on that left wing after an amazing summer and years of favoritism toward Raheem. So we'll see. But yeah, we should move on to the next one.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
That brings up a thought.
just like
Go ahead,
really
man.
quickly though, this is kind of two thoughts ago, but like I just want to push back a little bit. And I agree, like players should go where they want to go. Players should advance their careers, especially in a day and age where like, it's really important to build yourself like a big public profile. But like what's to say that like Villa isn't a Champions League side in like 3 years from now? And like and it's so hard because like obviously I'm not freaking Jack Grealish. Like this is not my decision. But like they get promoted 2 seasons ago. They managed to stay up, which is it's proving nearly impossible to stay up a year after becoming promoted. And then they jump all the way into the top 10 the next season, and they have a great like market, and they have like positive owners. They have a solid manager. They have guys who are playing in their national teams, not just Jack Grealish. So like I just don't understand. Like he would have been worth 100 mil in another year. And he like still, I think, I mean, he probably wouldn't have been unless he lost a leg, like, or
But
he found out
would
he's
their
like taking
market,
steroids in his calves. Like,
but like would their market have been possible without this sale? Like I don't know Villa's finances, but like I think they were making all these purchases contingent
Knowing
upon the
he
fact
would
that they
go.
I don't,
knew he would leave.
but they didn't spend 100 mil though.
They've
And
spent like 100 mil.
They've spent
They spent 40 on
EDF,
Buendia, 30 on Bailey,
25
who
on
else?
things.
25 on Ings. They brought in Ashley Young already. Like they've spent a lot already this summer, and I don't think Villa's in any
Also,
better of financial
I don't
position
think-
than any of the big six.
I don't think Grealish owes Villa anything else.
I'm not saying he owes them anything. I'm just saying why not give it another year, another 2 seasons, and like find out if you actually, because like that legacy of transforming a club in the Midlands to a Champions League side is like Vardy's legacy is so different than like Sterling's legacy at City.
Okay,
And that's not to say that Vardy's a better player than Sterling, but that's to say that like this man like brought this team a Premier League championship in like the most unlikely fashion, because he thought he could.
absolutely. And Vardy is a special case. Like Leicester definitely came out of nowhere. That happened so quickly. But Grealish was relegated with Villa once. He brought them back, and then he vaulted them into a top mid-tier team. So I think he's already brought them 15, 20 spots up from where they were previously. And I think that he's allowed the club to continue that progress while still, pursuing his own ambitions, which is playing Champions League football. That's what every single footballer wants, is they want to play at the highest level with the best players they can. And that's what City gives him. The chance came this year. So I completely back him, and I completely understand it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
And I feel like, give it 1 or 2 more years. Like he's 25. 2 years he's 27. You get a Harry Kane situation who's 27 and he hasn't won a trophy, and his options are kind of weirdly
Exactly.
slim right now because who knows if he's going to leave. And then you get another year back at Villa or Spurs for Harry, and who knows what happens, right? Whereas with City, as much as I hate to say it, they're kind of guaranteed a Champions League spot every year. So that's
my biggest shock is that City didn't prioritize Harry Kane over Jack Grealish. But a team
agreed.
that did prioritize a striker and got their man after a couple bids was Chelsea. Big Rom is practically here we go, like seen holding Chelsea shirts, everything confirmed, 115 mil. It's a huge bid. You're kind of surprised they didn't get Harry Kane for that kind of money, but to each their own. Maybe third time's the charm for Roman Abramovich and Chelsea getting Lukaku. I think this is going to be like a transformative transfer in a lot of different ways. But how do you guys think he's going to like produce this year back in the Prem?
And
blue, not red.
Be a stud.
Done it. He's going to come right in. He's going to fill that void that Chelsea has. I think he's going to, send this team off to the races this year. But yeah, I mean, Harry, I don't think Levy would ever sell him to Chelsea. And he's certainly driving that Kane price up. But I'm really excited for Rom just to be able to watch him every week and to be able to see if like he's really that missing piece for this team that has an insane amount of talent. I think it's kind of a perfect fit, able to be that hold up player that can send their pacey wingers through. But yeah, I'm super excited.
But also he himself makes those darting runs, and you have, I mean, we know Jorginho can play some nasty through balls, so it'll be exciting to see them link up. I gotta say though, like, it's just kind of like gross. I don't know. It's like a gross amount of money, and it just feels so wrong for a side that just won the Champions League to shell out that much money to defend that title. I mean, it just kind of reeks a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it reeks.
I'm with you, Louis.
I think
it definitely feels like, I honestly, I'm kind of feeling that, but the other way. I wanted him to stay with Inter because that Inter side is so much fun. And they, just got back to winning Serie A after it's been like a decade.
9 years,
yeah, something like that. So I was really excited to see them maybe. I don't think they would be Champions League favorites, but I wanted to see how far they could get next year. But I mean, without Rom, it's kind of
tough.
I totally like feel deflated about that now. It's pretty disappointing.
I think this transfer, what really upset most fans is it kind of that on top of everything that PSG has been doing. It's like in a year in a year and a half, almost 2 years now, in which pretty much every single club in the world is struggling due to the economic environment. You still have these 2-3 clubs between City, Chelsea, and PSG shelling out 100 million euros, 100 million pounds for these great players because they have money. And a lot of the fans are saying like, oil is ruining football. And I think that's kind of, that's the main talking point with this summer, really, because the only 3 clubs that have been able to make these big transfers and really, make a huge step forward, I guess, besides United, are those 3 clubs.
Pennies on the dollar over here. We don't spend money. We just earn it like hard-working people. Yeah.
Well, I think for me, this transfer feels a little gross for not just sort of the money reason, but also like because I despise Chelsea, like the culture and just everything sort of about the way that they've treated Lukaku. I don't understand why he would want to go back to Chelsea.
He was so mistreated.
Because
so
he was
mistreated.
And I mean, obviously Chelsea's a little bit of a different club now, but not really. The supporters are still honestly kind of arrogant jerks sometimes. And for me, it's still run by the same people. But for me, especially as an Everton supporter, who we adored Lukaku so much, we were so happy to have him after Chelsea discarded him, and unfortunately, we couldn't hold on to him, or we were able to make a profit, I suppose. But it's just frustrating in the summer, especially when obviously we haven't spent at all, but then seeing one of our favorite players the past couple decades go back to a club that just, like you said, sort of spends whenever they want, doesn't seem to really appreciate their stars, is quite frustrating. And I really hope that Chelsea supporters understand how lucky they are. Like we said, we're all really excited to watch this guy play in the Prem this season, but I am absolutely terrified to see him play at Goodison.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
built
with
for
these
the
big transfers, I always have a lot of mixed feelings. Like it was like similar to when Ibrahimovic came to United. I like was excited, obviously, but it felt a little weird. But like more than anything, above how I felt about the transfer, I was just always happy to like watch them on a weekly basis now. And that's this kind of, I don't have that hope for Messi, since he just like officially departed Barcelona. He's probably the last transfer dude we'll talk about today. But I don't have those hopes for him. I think PSG is going to snag another free transfer somehow. Their wage bill, they're going to have like, they're going to be like, these players are going to like play during the day and just get turned out at night to like pay their wages. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I I'm really excited to see Lukaku. I'm hopefully excited to see Messi in another kit. It's going to feel really weird, much weirder than Grealish. How do you guys feel about him? I mean, pretty much 90% going to PSG, right?
Cal the Dragon to PSG on a free.
Competing with Donnarumma for the starting spot.
Yeah,
just
no, Messi's it's gonna be weird.
I just love to see Poch, my guy Poch, now managing 3 of the 5 best players on his front line. That's just gonna be fun. Like I don't even care. I don't even care like about the French league. PSG win it 90% of the time, anyways. I'm excited to see, and they haven't been able to win Champions League either. So I don't think we can really say they're the undoubted like far and ahead favorite. I mean, they are, but it's still the Champions League, and PSG haven't been able to win it. So I just think it's going to be an absolute joy to watch this attacking trio and midfield do their thing.
Yeah. So the way I feel about it is kind of the same way I feel about this Chelsea transfer. I mean, I don't know. I think what my general thought about these enormous transfers to these insane clubs is it's so plastic, and it makes it feel like it makes it feel like these players are just visitors for like a couple years to earn a couple bucks and then dip. But with the Messi one, like I think just looking at what PSG have done this summer, it's so, how do I describe it? I guess it just feels like they're incredibly defensive because like they didn't win the league for like the first time in like 8 years. And what's sad about that is looking at the way the French league has deteriorated as a result in some way, because their financial scenario was so bad and they're selling all their best players, like every team in France is. And I don't know, it's just kind of a sad thing to see the momentum go from, oh, we have a new winner in Lille who didn't spend boatloads of cash to win the league. And you have Lyon and Monaco like really pushing for those top 4 spots. And then bam, Memphis is gone. Bam, like PSG just snatches all the best players in the world. Lille sells their best midfielder. It's just kind of gross. And I don't know. I'm kind of on that gross wave today.
Icky.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Loic. I think what's most interesting to me about this is obviously, like Nico said, PSG should be the overwhelming favorites to win Champions League. And, I mean, it's justified. They're front three might be one of the best combinations ever. But for Poch, like, it invites so much pressure on them to be absolutely perfect the whole year. So, I mean, I believe in him. He's a legendary manager in his own right so far in his career. And I think he has a lot of great places to go. But I don't know. It's just, it kind of reminds me of like when the Heat first formed the big three, just the amount of pressure that they had, and they fell short that first year, and then just the gargantuan wave of criticism that came over them. And I mean, all it takes is like one of their front three getting injured, missing some time, who knows? So I'm just kind of interested to see how that plays out.
No, I definitely agree. I think Poch is a great man to be in charge of this team. When you have this much talent, and it's not just their front three, like their back line, their midfield, also just extremely loaded.
Yeah.
I think the manager the qualities you need in a manager to manage a team like this are more of like people skills. And I think that's something that, the technical aspect of any given footy match is obviously extremely important, but I think Poch definitely has the people skills to manage all of these superstars and all of the players that aren't necessarily going to get as much playing time. Also, just wanted to say that I think a lot of these older players, such as Messi and Ramos, and maybe even Wijnaldum at this point, view PSG as an attractive option because they don't have to work so extremely hard, like for every single match, because every single match is extremely important, and then they can really focus in the Champions League. I see the appeal there, and it kind of makes sense. Like on the other side of that, it's kind of why Mbappe wants to leave, because he's young and he needs more of a challenge and more of a competitive project here, week in, week out. So it makes a lot of sense to me why PSG is, getting all of these superstars that are a little bit on the older side. But yeah, I absolutely feel like the gross nature in which all of it has happened, and seeing how sad Messi was to leave Barcelona, absolute daggers, and seeing the U-turn that he made from last year after essentially saying he wanted to leave 100%, and then the following year saying, now I want to stay here for the rest of my career. That was also really interesting and really eye-opening. So which made it, I think, just an even bigger blow for all the fans.
Yeah. I think that in all of this, that's definitely the one thing that didn't feel, sort of off-putting or strange or plastic was, those messy tears at that press conference were really real. And I mean, I know all of us felt that, we all grew up in honestly the messy up Barcelona generation. I mean, sure, it was also the Ronaldo at Real Madrid generation, and historic El Clasico after historic El Clasico, but there really was no more singular icon in the game than Messi, and he was completely associated with that historic club Barcelona. And so those tears were extremely real. Not getting a proper send off there, I think was it left all of us feeling pretty empty. Yeah, so it was sad. And I mean, I think, like you said, those U-turns are really interesting. I kind of hope there's a Last Dance style documentary down the road, and that we can sort of hear
100%.
everything that comes out about the way this club is run, and the way that this business has been done, because it has been quite a unique summer.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, to be honest, but we should move on.
For sure. Well, Nico, I think this is your time to shine, because we have our final debate here going in the Premier League season. This is our best front line in the Premier League debate. Probably the most exciting debate that we have. And here, written on our outline, Nico has laid out for us number one, Spurs, along with a couple other messages for us. So, Nico, would you like to state your case for your beloved Tottenham Hotspurs?
Absolutely not.
Every time.
Spurs are not the best front three. I would, they have an argument if Kane stays, but
Sure.
I'm putting Chelsea 1. I think City, whoever has Harry Kane is number 2. And then if Spurs don't have Harry Kane, then we're going all the way down to like 7th. So,
Do you think that Spurs are above City if they have Kane?
yeah, I think so. Just because Kane or City don't have a striker, and Spurs have the best striker plus Son, who could win Golden Boot this year. So yeah, the right wing is a little bit of a question mark, but there's a couple of quality players that can come in there and do what they need to help Kane and Son get their goals and assists. But yeah, I definitely think with Lukaku coming in, I'm putting Chelsea 1, City and Spurs, depending on who has Kane 2, and then I think Liverpool and United are pretty close behind them.
Dude, I feel like our front three is easily better than Liverpool's, and I think close to the number one.
Hot.
If you think about like Cavani off of like his first real season in the Prem, he had a lot of goal contributions. He's still like legit. But even if you don't put him in there, like the youth and like the front three of Sancho, Greenwood, Rashford is like silly.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're all finishers. They can all create. Probably will interchange a lot at the top. You don't get that kind of flexibility out of most front threes, and I think it's going to be super dynamic this year. I'm going to say they're best.
I want to see Sancho in the Prem before I can agree with that, but they certainly have the potential to be soon.
I want to see Bald Tony in the Prem.
Dude, I want to see Bald Tony in the Prem, even if it's for Everton. Okay.
Down. Plus, Lingardinho is back.
Oh,
yeah.
How can we forget?
I don't know. I think it's so dumb that he's there. I'm not gonna lie. He should leave. But I don't know. Like I don't know what he's doing there. Like, dude, you're not beating out Bruno for his spot. Like, I'm sorry. I love the like. I don't know. I love the mentality, but it's just not happening.
Anyone else wanna? Yeah, Loic.
I'm not gonna give any like controversial bid for this. I think it's probably City. I don't know. I think their false nine formation, no matter who's in that 9, like we've seen it work pretty astonishingly. And now with Jack on the left, you can kind of play Phil in there, and you can play Riyad on the right. You can play a lot of people. Talk about flexibility. Like that's a pretty flexible front line. I don't think that I wouldn't like. I'd say Chelsea, but the thing is, as good as their wingers are, they haven't necessarily proven themselves in the way that City's wingers have. Like I love Chris, hasn't proved himself the way like Riyad Mahrez has, right? Or just Timo, like tiny Timo.
Yeah,
like
think about how good Chelsea would be if Lukaku replaced Timo.
I know, but then
Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi or even Werner on the wing, so Werner didn't have to be the primary finisher.
Akeem the Dream.
I get that, but I don't know. I still don't think
big year too. Can't forget about.
Still don't think they've proven themselves the same way the City front line has. So I'm gonna put them in there. But and this kind of ushers us into our predictions at some point. This is my little preview, and I'm just gonna say it now. I think Golden Boot's going to Diogo Jota.
So
it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna piggyback off that take.
Okay, yeah. Forrest, you go. No, Forrest, you go. You go.
There, boys.
All right, I've been cooking this one up for about 5 minutes.
Take it out of the oven. Take it out of the oven.
It's fresh. I'm saying City, yes, probably has the deepest and the best front line. However, I'm going to say Liverpool's front line has the best season this year. Look at
Yeah.
Maybe with Verge coming back, it changes everything again, but
I don't know. Yeah, like Mo's still a fucking beast. Pardon my language, but
if Jota is healthy, I'm with you, Louis. He's gonna go off.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, he's already scoring mad goals in preseason. He had a great tournament this summer. Like, he's just a guy who has such good instinct. And for a guy who's so short to be scoring headers, like, I think that in itself is kind of a signal that he is a brilliant player. And I could see him bagging a lot and kind of competing with Mo for
He-
Liverpool's top scorers. Also, who knows? You could see that we're seeing like the rebirth of Bobby, scoring 2 goals this preseason. And Sadio could come back. I don't know. I just don't think we can count them out.
Do you count their front three as Mo, Hota playing kind of like a false 9 and Mane on the left, or Hota on the left, Bobby Chompers up top, and Mo on the right?
I mean, probably with Jota as the false 9 and Mane on the left, but then you can kind of slot Bobby into that 9, move Jota to the left. Like, they're also pretty flexible in that sense. And you got Divock. Divock can bag. But yeah, I mean, I definitely see the case for arguing for their front line being the best, but I'm still just gonna say Diogo's getting that golden boot. He's gonna bag.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. I think Liverpool's definitely the most proven front line. I think last year was, I don't know if it was an anomaly or not, but I think Sadio Mane is going to come back a lot stronger this season than he was last year. And yeah, Jota's a beast. That the rotation will definitely be interesting. I'm sure Klopp will figure it out, but I think also we'll see what type of start they get off to without Andy Robertson. Like we saw last year, those fullbacks are such an important part of that offense. And it sounds like it's not quite as bad an injury as we thought it might have been. I don't know if you guys saw the slow-mo of the video of his ankle turning, but it was really nasty. Like
yeah.
I thought he might have broken
Gonna
it.
pass. Pass.
I'm gonna pass on that too.
But of course, like he goes out and they have this like Greek kid come in and just like be a beast. Costa
Tsimikas.
Yeah.
Tsimikas, yeah, kids looks like he's sick. So it seems like they're gonna be okay. But yeah, definitely the most proven in my opinion. I also want to give a little shout for Leicester's front line. I think Vardy's still got it. I think Dr. Kalechi is going to have a banging season.
Harvey Barnes is back.
Harvey Barnes is back.
Yeah, wearing the number 7.
And this kid, Daka,
he's filthy.
So fast. He's so fast and sick.
Dude,
so
he looks like he's like 40.
How old is he?
I have no idea.
I think he's like 22. I
think he's young, but he looks so old.
He's so fast. I think that Leicester's going to have an awesome line going forward this year. But yeah, I mean, I guess that is a decent transition into maybe giving these gold boot predictions out along with our top 7 and our bottom 3. Shall we?
Let's do golden boot.
Yeah, Gabe, take it away.
Should we do golden boot first?
Just since we're on the topic of attack.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I just sort of gave mine away. I think Kelechi Iheanacho is going to have an awesome season up top for Leicester. I think they got a lot of quality in the side. He's going to have a lot of delivery, and he's also going to have a lot of penalties, and that is what you need to win a golden boot. I think it's going to be a tightly contested one again, but even if I'm not fully convinced he's going to win it, I just love him and I love watching him play. So I want to see it. I'm going to will it.
All right, I'm going. I already said it. Diogo. It's just going to happen. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tight one. It's always going to be a tight one in the Prem, but
bang.
Got to go with the most expensive man in the Prem this year. Big Rom bullying goalie. There's no way he's not bagging at least 20, if not like 25, maybe. So yeah, I see him getting it.
I have a feeling Golden Boot might need like 27 or 28 goals this year to win it. I think it's going to be quite some good goal scorers here. I think Kane on City makes way too much sense. Son, if Kane leaves makes a lot of sense, but I'm actually going to go with Mo. I think Mo is consistently at the top, and he's just a safe bet. And I really like, some of the things you guys were saying earlier about how their front line may get back to their usual ways with Verge and just some more stability to the squad. So, never count out Mo.
I'm going to go with Harry again, back to back. I honestly, this is another, I don't think this is quite as hot of a take, but regardless of whether he's on Spurs or City, I think he'll be pretty damn close to the top of those standings at the end of the season. I think he's still, we've talked about it before, he's pretty motivated, it seems like, to get the Premier League goals record. So I'm definitely seeing another big season from him.
Or salad. Cool. Top seven.
Baby go.
Yeah, I can run through it pretty quick. I have in this order Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool, Leicester, Spurs, Leeds. That's what I got.
Damn, Leeds taking a jump.
Yeah. I like the moves they made this offseason. I think they were pretty young last year. I would love to see it.
Nice. I'll go. I'm calling Chelsea also. I think United's going to get second again. City third. Liverpool fourth. I believe in us. I think we can get to Europe again. So Arsenal fifth. I know. Don't talk about it. I think Villa is going to get Europa sixth. And I think Spurs going to be in Conference League again.
Yeah, we're going to own Conference League for 2 years in a row, bitch.
Yeah.
I'll run through mine pretty quick. I'm backing the boys at United to win the title.
Huge.
Do I think it's going to happen? Not
Yes.
necessarily, but I want it to happen, so it's there. Slabhead supremacy. So United first, Chelsea second, City third, Liverpool fourth. I almost flip-flopped. I honestly think Liverpool's going to finish higher than fourth. I think they're going to have a really good year. But I don't feel comfortable putting them above any of the other teams. So that's where they sit. Spurs are going to beat Arsenal again, as is becoming the norm. Leicester sixth, Arsenal seventh, and then Villa coming in after all of those teams as the best of the rest.
Excellent. I love it, Paul. I think so. My top four is exactly the same as Gabe's. Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool in that order. I do think that there are two pretty distinct tiers of four here. It might be a little bit unfair to keep Leicester out of the top four considering what they've been able to do. But just like with all the talent that these other teams have added, I think Chelsea, City, United, and Liverpool are clearly the top four favorites. I have Spurs at 5, Leicester at 6, Villa at 7, and then I'd probably put Arsenal at 8. I think those could really flip-flop in any direction. Spurs, I have hope because we weren't such a bad squad last year if we had a little bit of a defense and we just added a magnificent defender. So there's a little bit of hope. And I think if Kane were to be sold, then we'd bring in a couple of pretty good attackers. So I think we'll be just fine. And Leicester, always quality. They're becoming a regular. Villa, love what they did this summer.
I just want to say, I understand Villa is like a real sexy pick right now, but I'm calling it Everton finishing above Villa.
Okay.
I want to drop an F-bomb here, but I just want to say F our Kazoo twins. You might have slabhead supremacy, but we're gonna have Kazoo supremacy this season.
That's absolutely massive.
Hey, the Kazoo Derby is gonna be electric.
I love the Kazoo Derby, bro.
It is the best week in the Prem every single year.
Okay. Speaking of, there's no transition. Sorry.
Force needs to list his top.
Oh, well, my bad.
Sir.
Broad of the week goes to Gabe.
I'm taking kind of like everyone else, Chelsea. I'm terrified of them. I think they're going to run the league. I'm going to go United second. City taking a slight step back to third. I forgot who said it. It might have been Nico, but I feel like Liverpool is pretty firmly fourth. I couldn't put them above anyone else, and I couldn't put anyone else on the list above them. Leicester is going to be fifth. They're probably the closest for me to cracking the top four, and I would kind of love to see that, to be honest. Spurs feeling kind of optimistic about this sixth. Do I know for sure if it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I am feeling good about Nuno, and then I'm taking Leeds seventh. I'm a big Bielsa fan, and I'm actually really excited to watch Leeds this year. They might be kind of my secondary favorite team behind Spurs. So we're doing bottom three now.
Damn, you guys all picked
Yeah.
Chelsea to win.
Yeah.
Bah,
That's crazy.
You don't,
I mean, you would have if you weren't a United supporter.
Not as if. I would have picked Everton to win.
Okay. Well, okay.
Well, Gabe's wet.
Yeah. In our lifetime, that's all I'm gonna say. In our lifetime, we're lifting a trophy. Will it
For your
be
sake, I hope so.
the championship trophy, the play-in tournament? Maybe, but we're lifting a trophy. Trophy. Champions of September. For the teams I think that are getting relegated, I don't really know why I picked these teams, but I picked them. Watford, Brentford, and Burnley. Basically, if your name's got Ferd in it, you're kind of in trouble. And also Burnley was hot trash at the end of last season, except for Dwight McNeil dunking on Jordan Pickford. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I'm going Southampton. Don't know what they're doing this offseason, and they were a hot mess last season.
Get ready to take on summer with new iced drinks at Dunkin', like a full bottle.
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Not bad. I was playing,
was it?
I was playing through my headphones. That was weird.
Anyway,
Leave that in.
Ice drinks at Dunkin'.
Except no free ads.
I have officially resigned as the editor of the Meat Pies podcast.
All right, Louis.
So yeah, Southampton, Watford, good luck. Troy Deeney, you're not gonna have a good year. And then Burnley, hot mess at the end of last season. They've just, I don't know anything they've done this summer. So bye.
All right, well, Louis, we're gonna fight because Troy Deeney is a legend. We're talking about Midlands legends.
Talking about Fat Drake.
But Watford, I think I'm again the only person to predict Watford to stay up because of my boy Troy Deeney and my boy the cycling GK Ben Foster.
Oh, that's true.
That's my guy. There's no way he's letting them get relegated. So my three are going to be Brentford, Southampton, Burnley. Like you guys said, I also think Brentford. I think even Tony's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be enough.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the popular picks here. I think it's pretty hard. It's gonna be really difficult for Brentford and Watford to both stay up. I favored Norwich, like the rest of y'all, just because they were just recently here, and I think they kind of know what it takes to stay up this time, or at least I want to hope they do, because I like a lot of their players. But I think it's between Burnley and Brighton, who actually match up on match day 1. So whoever loses that game is getting relegated. You heard it here first.
Whoa. Tone setter. I'm going with Gabe. Shame. Burnley, Brentford, Watford, toast.
Book it. In other news, we're playing Fantasy Premier League this season, and it's pretty confusing. Yeah. So finally, for our first prediction of the Premier League season, exciting stuff, boys. We are here. We are back. We are predicting real Premier League matches with real life implications.
Ooh.
Ow. We got City versus Spurs. this Sunday, I will probably be at the Commonwealth Pub in Oakland with my brother watching this thing. 8:30 a.m. on the West Coast, 11:30 a.m. on the East Coast. It is at City. Is it at Spur? No, it's in Tottenham. It is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Forrest, because you sort of predicted last week's match right, you have
Loosely.
the first pick.
This is painful. I don't want to have to do this, but I'll suck it up. I think Spurs will come out playing hard and having fun, but
Fun?
Fun.
I'm gonna go 3-1 City and just leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Gabe.
I'm going 2-2 banging match to kick off
Whoa.
our predictions.
That's what I wanted.
And I'm feeling a deli bike, a dire header, and Jesus Brace.
Dude, Dyer is lucky if he sniffs the pitch.
Paul.
Oh, he's starting.
Oh God. Well, speaking of Eric Dyer hate, 4-0 City.
Jeez,
Wow.
boys. All right. I'm rolling 1-1. I like the 2-2 pick by Gabe. I think both De Bruyne and Foden are going to be out. I don't know if you guys knew that,
Ooh.
That is true. That is true.
but
5-0
Kane is supposedly available. I like the draw. City kind of tend to start the season a little bit on the slower side.
Okay. I'm going like a 2-0 City. I think
Like a
Jackie's
2-0.
like a
a
G6.
2-0. And I think an Ilkay and a Riyadh.
I love a good Riyadh and a good Ilkay.
Yeah. Should we head on over to the rest?
Or as we
Nice.
like to call them now, 4.
Stop it.
Spooky.
Pookie.
We need to solidify that, guys. You need to pick one and stick with it.
Yeah, you get lots of names. You're like Shaq.
All right.
DJ
Do
Diesel.
this meaty bite.
Wait, Loic, do you have like a game or something?
Yeah.
No
I
one
have a
cares.
game.
Yeah, I guess that.
All
bench is
right,
gonna warm
Mr.
itself up.
Babyface.
All right. This is my first meaty bite in quite a long time. Might have to dust off the cobwebs here a little bit. But to be honest, I'm still riding the patriotic high of our huge win over Mexico in the Gold Cup final. So to continue with that American theme, I want to give this week's shout to Norwich City's newest striker, Josh Sargent. The newly promoted Premier League club signed the hard-working American redhead from Werder Bremen in Germany just a few hours ago, earlier today. I think Norwich fans will love his gritty, relentless style that this St. Louis native brings to the pitch. So, Josh, we're thrilled to see another young American in the Prem, and best of luck in helping keep the Canaries in the top flight.
Up the yellows.
Up the
the
Canaries.
The Yellows.
I do love Norwich. They're a pretty sweet side. So
He's going to look great in that kit.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking that right as I saw him sign, I was like, he goes really well with the kit.
Easily.
The red hair matching off the yellow and green bright kit. I love
Wonderful.
The curtains match the kit.
the curtain.
anyway,
That's enough.
Is it? Oh,
Gabe?
okay. Sure. Yeah. That's it. That's all we got, boys. That's the Meat Pies podcast. That's how we do it. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, subscribe, follow wherever you're listening to us. Feel free to leave us a review. If you're an Apple Podcast, make sure it's a good one or it's Premier League season. So I'll really send big dunk to find ya. You can find the Meat Pies podcast, just about anywhere you get your podcasts. New episodes like this one being released every Tuesday evening. And also starting to sprinkle in some Friday interview specials. We got a great one coming up this Friday with one John McDermott, all-time footy photographer. So make sure to stay on the lookout. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Meat Pies Pod. Also on YouTube now. Make sure to subscribe to us there. Boys, we got it all going on now.
We got it all.
We're rolling.
Really
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to the Meat Pies Juggernaut. Enjoy the rest of your Premier League week. Up the pies.
Up the pies.
Up the
Give 'em the
pies.
meat.
Up the toffees.
Give them the meat.